Hey everybody, hope you're doing all right. Ooh, that was a southern accent right there. I said all right. I'm sorry, that just caught me off guard. So anyway, just a thought. So it's funny what are these, like pageantries and different types of shows where people go up to try to win whatever, and they ask them, so what is your dream? What would you like? And one of the most common phrases that comes out is world peace. I want world peace, which is such a, I don't know if it's an arbitrary phrase, but it's definitely something that seems unattainable, because it's just something that some people say to make themselves look good. I want world peace. But have you ever thought about how there could possibly be world peace? Could world peace be done through politics? Could it be by being nice to people? I mean, how does world peace get achieved? Because I've never really thought about it. I mean, I have ideas, and and from a Christian perspective, if you want to look at it from there, or even Muslim or Buddhist, you look at it from that perspective, maybe, maybe it's attainable. But how do you go about getting world peace? What does that take? Does everybody have to lay down their arms? No more war? Is that what we're looking at when it comes to world peace? Oh, think about that for a second. But this is the only way that world peace is achievable at all is that, and then it would become like a domino effect. If this one thing could be done, and that one thing that has to be done is that I'm just going to use me, I have to be at complete peace with myself. I have to be at complete contentment with who I am as a human being. I have to be at complete peace and centered on my true self of who I truly am. And then if I can live in that, which is living in Christ, which is living through the Father, and live in that peace, then no matter what you do, no matter what anyone does, I will not be triggered, nor will I have a reaction to where I would feel anger or resentment or a sense of that I need to destroy or annihilate or ignore, whatever it is on how we treat each other. Those things wouldn't exist anymore because I would be at peace. And so there was nothing that you could do or someone could do that would cause me to react. I would just be in love. I would be in peace. So now take me and multiply me times 7 billion people, however many is in the world, with that same ability. Do you see it? Where each individual person is now centered within their true self, within Christ, within the Father, that they're truly centered, where they now are in peace at all times, and nothing or anyone around them that they could do would cause them to react nor trigger. But if everyone's in that, there would be no reactions or triggers. No one would be mirrors to each other anymore. The things that would make me angry about you, which is truly something within me that I need to deal with, that's the only reason I'm getting angry at you, because I'm actually angry at myself, those things would not exist anymore. And voila, you have world peace. That's how it's done. There's no amount of political pressure. There's no amount of nations uniting and having alliances. There's no creating deterrence that will create world peace. Spiritual peace has to take place first within us. We have to be at peace. We have to be at rest within the truth of the knowing of the Christ that's within us. And when we rest in that, then peace will actually be the thing that we walk through. This is why Christ, when he went places that people were drawn to him, they were drawn to the peace that rested within his heart. They were drawn to the joy that rested within him. They were attracted to that. They didn't know that. They didn't understand it. But that's what it was. So imagine if everyone had that same ability, that same thing exuding from them, peace and love and joy. Then all the things that we deal with, all the conflicts that we have, all the things that we walk through, whether it's in our families or relationships, or whether it's in nations or cities or towns or communities, all of that would just disappear. Because we would be settled within ourselves. Conflict takes place because of the fact we are not settled within ourselves, not the other person. They're not settled in themselves either, so you feed off of one another. But when you're settled in you, then no amount of anything is going to cause a reaction within you to where you are going to want to cause harm to someone else. You would just want to show them love. A friend of mine, we were talking, we did an event this weekend, and it was for the Caring Place, which basically provides for the homeless and clothing and a lot of different things. And this person said they wanted to volunteer there, but this person is basically considers herself to be a witch, which is neither here nor there. But she felt, well, if I want to volunteer, but if I go to volunteer, they're Christian and they're not going to accept this or this, and because she assumed that they would know. And I looked at her and I said, well, just love them. And she kind of tilted her head at me. And she goes, yeah, but they're gonna say this, or they'll make these judgments and everything else. I said, well, I get that. I understand. I know. Well, just love them. Love them anyway. Do you understand that? See, because it's irrelevant, and this is a previous discussion. If you put your label on you, and you allow people to label you, then you allow judgment and condemnation to follow you all wherever you go, because everyone's got their standard and the way that they look at things. But if I choose not to have the labels, not to have the identity crisis where it causes me to have to be something with a name attached to it, but I just love you, no matter where you're at, no matter what you think you are, no matter what you're in to try to find the truth of who you are and the truth of who the Creator is, no matter what direction you're taking to get there, all I need to do is love you where you're at. That's what Christ did. He loved people where they were at. It was irrelevant what they were doing or who they thought they were, because he saw the truth within them that existed in them because it existed in him. They just hadn't awakened to the truth yet. So all he could do was love them where they were at. So whether they were tax collectors or murderers or adulterers or whatever sin tag that got stuck onto them, the truth is that he was able to love them through all of that. Because all of that was the facade that covered up the truth of who they truly were. And he saw past that. And that's where peace comes from, is when you can get to where you can see past even all the junk within you to find the trueness of who you are, the trueness of who you were created. When you're able to do that, then you can start to see that in everyone. That there is something amazing within every individual that you encounter. I don't care how rotten you may think they are, or how whatever it is that they've done. Because everything that you judge people on, and I don't care if it's a murderer, I don't care if it's if it's a child molester, it doesn't matter who it is, everyone deep within them has the capability of being that individual. All of us do. The only thing that stops people from walking down certain roads is control, possibly, or whatever thought process they have to not walk down that road. But everybody has the potential to become those things. There's so many people that have walked the straight and narrow, and then all of a sudden they don't anymore, and they're doing something completely contrary to their character of what people thought they were. Because everyone's capable of doing the very thing that you say you're not capable of doing. Some of that comes from judging people, and therefore things in life change around you so that you have to experience the very thing that you judge. But anyway, I digress. Back to the original thought. If you want to see peace in your community, if you want to see peace in your own household, you have to start with you. That's the only way it's going to take place. It will not take place any other way unless you start with you. And when you start with you, then the healing can take place. Then life can begin. So anyway, just a thought. Love you guys. Peace.